You change the parent bean, you're going to get out of the menu view down the side with the tab view on top. And then I'll show you real quick just the menu view here. This works. So the tab views existed in kd6 in some form, but the menu view is kind of new. So menu view is just down the side, and then of course you can collapse to the page.
Very cool. No, I think we can go on to step 7. So I've got Jerry here. We're going to talk about containers now. So Jerry, we've got a view set up. How do we fill that in with content, with what we actually want to see on the page?
Right. Okay, so to start filling in our view with content, we're going to use 2 types of components kd6 supports. One is called a group, and another is called a field. So a field is just a container. It's just going to contain other items. And as we're going to see later, we're going to apply a layout to that group. So groups can contain the fields, and groups can also contain other groups. And so since groups can contain other groups, we can kind of build up all of our view using those at different levels. For instance, we think of the group at the page level that includes all the page contents. We think of groups that are at the section level, which are major chunks of the page. And of course, if the section is big enough, we can start breaking out the groups or smaller groups.
Great. Now, I see up there on line 32, you have a footer. We saw headers earlier. So what's a footer, and how does that work?
Right. So containers, all containers have some standard parts. One of them is a footer. The others are the header, which is generally where you might see an actual HTML header. Of course, the body that has the items that go into that container, and a footer, and also an headers field and a help field. So the footer, since it's at the bottom of the group, is generally a good place to put buttons or other action fields. So on our tracker page that we're building up, one thing I didn't point out before is we started a page, and we have 3 sections in that page. Well, first with our team information, our game information, our players tab. And then we have a footer, and we want to add a save button. So the user can save this, and we're doing that with a footer and a type field called an action field.
Okay, now, you said earlier that not only do we can use groups, but we also can use fields. And I also saw down below that you're using some input fields. There we go. So what are input fields?
Right. Okay, so now we have our groups, and this first one we're looking at here is called our team information group. We want to put the fields in them. And so a field is just a wrapper for an HTML element. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to render HTML. And so for all the HTML elements you'll find, like label, link, button, and input, you'll find a field. Now, input fields are ones you work with a lot. They have a lot of properties associated with them. Of course, they're going to create an input HTML element that will have a control type associated with it. Here we're setting what's called the property name, because these are actually going to be, input output of data, and they're going to bind to what we call our model, which might have a document or something like that. We also need to set the controls on these, and you probably want to label these in many cases as well. So in this case, we set a control. Notice that other places we didn't, and that's because these views are backed by the data dictionary. So if we define them there, those would default in.
Okay, cool. And finally, getting back to groups a little bit, we've talked a lot about layouts. Does every group have a layout?
Right. So these are all pretty big topics. So we're going fast at first, but so I talked about a group. You put the content together, you configure the group, and then you put it together with layout manager. So the concept of layout manager is obviously taken from desktop development. It's one of the primary ways that kd provides that flexibility in layout and how things are rendered. The groups, which are right now working with basic groups, the first one here, the team, is using a layout called grid layout, which is a table-based layout. Obviously, it's going to render things in rows and columns. It has some properties that we're configuring here, like the number of columns, and this tells us how many columns to render when you wrap down to a new line. And then we can set some other things like you can see earlier, row and column We also have a group layout called the box layout. And this is a database layout. And so primarily what we do by default is aligning in horizontal or vertical row. But given that it's just div and we have the ability to apply CSS styles to any component, we can apply a CSS style that would change the layout for us. And this is where we take advantage of Fluid, FSS, scheme system or layout engine. And for example, here, what I've done here is first I've taken advantage of the field groups that David talked about earlier and built 3 field groups. And field groups are kind of a way just to nest a group in the field, so you can kind of nest and build things up. And then what I did is on the style classes, I applied an FL container flex and an FL, sorry, this is network contain. The network keeps jumping out on the custom screen share. And FL column 3. So this is using the fluid layouts to give us a 3-column layout on the container.
Thank you, Chair. 2 minutes? Okay.
Well,
okay, great. So are we going to do future game? Okay, great. So, since you stuck out this long, you now have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, or until next quality days, to win either a medium or large kd6 t-shirt as modeled by our developers of the USA. So, to win one of these, you must successfully answer one of the multiple trivia questions that I have here. So, I think our first trivia question is a t-shirt to anyone, raise their hand first, who can name 3 components available in Quality Rise 2.0. Did someone's hand go up? Come on, 3 components. Keep. There's members of the Foundation Rise team here. Okay. Actually, I think okay, I think your hand went up a little bit before his. I'm so sorry.
KRAD, Q,
KRAD, yeah.
KRMS,
KRMS, yep.
Q.
And Q. Okay, now, can you can get the other shirt if you name me like 2 more.
Modularity.
Modularity, is that a module? We'll give you another chance.
Oh, okay. I give up.
Okay, well, thank you. KSB, Ken, Kim. Yeah, okay, given that now, here's our second question. Thank you so much. Don't complain your shirt during the break. My next question is, a t-shirt to anyone who is considering implementing a quality product at their school, do not have a quality product right now, and getting a free t-shirt will positively impact their decision. And consider. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to come back after break. Jerry will be your host at that point in time, so walk around a little bit.